Hey guys, how's it going? It is Thursday, July 9th. It's 5:17 p.m. The market's been closed for a little over an hour now. And what a day in the market if you were following it all day long. So again, this heat map here doesn't tell you the full story. There's a lot of red on the board. And if you followed the market from the morning to a little after the afternoon, you would have expected this board to be all red. But again, towards the end of the day, big tech, Amazon, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Apple, a lot of the semis were able to rally and go into the green. And look at my best friend, AMD, up 7.2% today. Absolutely insane. I really hope some of you had shares on AMD and just made tons of profit today. I really wish I had positions open on AMD, but unfortunately I didn't. Micron, I did have a position open on. It's up 0.5%, not too shabby. Makes me feel a little bit better in my cash secured put. But let's get into it. So if you remember from my prior videos, I do have a put that expires tomorrow on IWM at the $137.50 strike price. And as you can see, we opened up pretty much right where we closed yesterday. So again, my prediction was wrong yesterday in that I was really hoping for, and I really thought that we were going to have a run up or rally pre-market and that we would open up green and stay green. But pretty much the opposite happened, where we opened up a little bit green, but then immediately sold off for the first about 2.5 hours of the market. I mean, we went from 142.05 to a low of 137. We dropped about $4.50 in the first 2.5 hours. And this is when I was really getting worried, because actually right now I was in the money because my strike was at 137.50. We climbed out of it, got right back in it, literally 1 penny in the money. And then thankfully, because if we look at the whole market was selling off. It wasn't just IWM. I mean, take a look at SPY. If we zoom in, so you can see this is 9:30 a.m. and this is 11 a.m. So again, SPY went from 316 all the way down to 311. So SPY also dropped about $5. So the entire market was selling off by a lot, and they were selling off very quickly. And then thankfully, or if you think this was all planned, I'm not sure, I'm not a conspiracy theorist here, but around this time, the government, their new stimulus package. So that immediately pumped the entire market back up. So although we didn't come back to levels where we started, we did stop the bleeding and we did rally a little bit. So IWM ended up closing 139, down roughly $2.50 to $3 compared to where it opened. So as of right now, my 137.50 put, it's doing okay, because when we were dipping, I was again in the negative. Based on my platform, my IWM put is valued at currently $71. So I sold it for $59. So I'm actually still in the negative. But like I said, I'm not worried, because as long as IWM trades sideways or even rallies up a little bit, or it can still drop about $1, $1.50 if it wants to, I should be able to let that contract expire worthless tomorrow, because it does expire tomorrow. But yeah, that dip was not good for me. And I'm sure, much like everybody else that may have had cash secured puts open, I was very concerned that I was going to get assigned shares this week. But thankfully, the government stopped the bleeding. Now, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist here, but you wonder if the reason we had a big market sell-off this morning is because the institutions knew or got tipped off that a stimulus package was coming later today. So they sold off all their profits, right? And then right before the announcement was made public, they bought back in at a low price to ride the wave back up. I'm just saying, not saying that happened, but it was kind of awfully convenient that the market as a whole was bleeding off, and then all of a sudden the government stepped in to save the day in the nick of time. Just saying. But it worked out for me, because even if you think the market is rigged, I was still able to have my puts be somewhat secure, or at least more secure than they were around 10 a.m., 11 a.m. this morning. So I'm still looking okay on my IWM puts. If we do have a red day again tomorrow and my puts are in contention of being tested, or if my put goes in the money, I'll just roll it out to the following week. So if I do that, I just told you that currently my IWM put for the 137.50 strike is valued at $71. I can roll it out to next Friday. So I would have to pay $71 to buy it back, and then I would have to collect $250 to roll it out until next Friday. So what I could do, I would end up profiting $250, right? Because I would collect $250 minus the $71 I would have to pay to buy my contract back. I'd still end up profitable by $179. So if push comes to shove tomorrow and I'm getting a little bit too nervous that I might get assigned shares, I'll just roll it out to the following week. But let's take a look at my other option that was on, and that was on Micron. And I sold a put on Micron at the $48 strike price for $22 in premium, which I will admit was not the greatest premium, because even yesterday and even today, that premium I could have gotten more if I had just waited. But again, hindsight's 2020. Profit is profit at the end of the day. But Micron was sideways again, also started bleeding off when the market did, and then rallied hard. I mean, it rallied actually into the green. So Micron again was testing, or getting close to testing, my strike at $48. It had a low of $48.77, but thankfully we were able to rally and close the day almost at $50. So I'm feeling confident about my Micron put as well. Just taking a look at my platform again, because Robinhood does not let you sell or buy 0-day options or 0 data expiration options. So using my platform, I can see that option is currently valued at roughly 4 cents. So it's worth $4. I paid 22 for, I'm sorry. So looking at my platform, it's worth roughly $4 currently, and I collected $22 in premium. So I'm already profitable by $18 on my $48 put on Micron. I'll just let it ride and hopefully expire worthless tomorrow to collect the full profit of $22. But that's my trades for this week. My concern was this hard and fast dip that happened today, because what this tells me, and I know I've gotten a lot of flack by some people that I'm, not collecting enough premium, or I'm being too risk adverse, or I'm playing it too safe, and then I'm missing out on gains. This is why I'm doing it. And again, I'm not hating on anyone, but everybody has their own risk profile, and you have to make decisions for yourself in terms of how much risk you're willing to accept. So me, right now, I'm very risk adverse, and this is why. Because the market just told me that literally in the matter of 2.5 hours, it can shave $5 off SPY, right? That's a crazy drop in a very short amount of time. So that's why I'm selling far, far out of the money puts, because if the market can do this, would you rather be assigned shares at, let's just say 311? Or would you rather be assigned shares at, say, 314, for example, if your put is not that far out of the money, right? I'm in less of a hole by selling a far out of the money put. If or when the market decides, it's time for a sell-off and it's time to dip again. This is what I'm scared about, is this like total market sell-off that happens very quickly. That's my biggest fear, is that I have a lot of puts on, or I have a lot of capital tied up. The market decides it wants to sell off now, and now all of a sudden I'm getting assigned all these shares and maybe end up bag holding all this money or all these shares. So that's my worst fear. So I'd be willing to bet, and leave me a comment below, that if you were watching the market today, you were getting concerned about your puts if you really didn't want to get assigned shares. But thankfully, we did have a pretty significant rally across the whole market. Let's take a look at IWM. So again, this big sell-off during the day in the early morning, and then we had a rally, thankfully. Taking a look at Micron, similar story. Had a sell-off in the morning, then we ended up actually rallying back into the green. And we're lying right on the 61.8% Fibonacci level. So we'll have to see whether Micron wants to bounce off it and go up, or keep trading below in this teal area here. We'll have to wait and see tomorrow. I'm going to say it again, and I don't want to jinx myself, but I'm hoping that we have a strong green day going into the weekend. That will be fantastic. I'm sure not only for me, but for all of my audience that may have cash secured puts on or any form of put on that you've sold. So I've been avoiding this, but let's talk about my best friend AMD. I don't know what got into AMD today, but it just blasted off like a rocket. The whole market was selling off. AMD did not care. AMD was the honey badger today. I mean, it went from $53.53 to a close of $57, and it's still slowly going up after hours, up to like $57.70 at the time of this video recording. So, I mean, AMD literally gained, what, $3.81, so almost $4 in one day, while the market was up and down and overall was pretty much red. I don't know what news came out or what got into AMD, but it absolutely took off like a rocket. I really wish I had shares that I was holding on AMD. I mean, take a look at this graph. It just spiked hard. And it's very similar. In my video yesterday, I mentioned that AMD has a pattern of when it gets close or is oversold, it tends to just rocket up. But be careful now, because I think if you were to try and get in tomorrow morning, I think you may have missed the boat. So just be careful, FOMO, because right now, AMD is showing an overbought RSI. So that tells me, and I'm going to expect that when we open tomorrow morning, there's going to be a lot of profit taking, and I'm sure AMD shares will probably fall. If I had to make a prediction, I'm going to guess that AMD closes tomorrow between like $54 and $55. I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of profit taking, and I predict that AMD is going to close somewhere in this range, maybe near this Fibonacci level, which is the 78.6% Fibonacci level. That's my prediction. Let's see what happens tomorrow. But overall, it wasn't a great day in the market, but it could have been a lot worse. So let's see what some of the popular options were. And, you know, surprise, surprise. Top 1, 2, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 5, 8, 9, and 11th most popular stock options were on AMD. And look at it. People are buying 55, 60, 56, 57, 55 calls. I mean, people are just really bullish on AMD. I think what I need to do is next time AMD drops to the low 50s or ideally the high 40s, I need to get in some shares. Because if it's going to take off like a rocket, I mean, if you had shares at 50, if you had 100 shares, let's say at $50, and it's now at 57 and change, you just made $700 in profit. I mean, if you had shares, let's say you just bought shares yesterday at 52, 53, and closed today above 57, you just made $400 in profit, or $4 per share of profit in one trading day. That's crazy. That's craziness. I mean, that's like my best premium gain for a whole week in my recent trading. So AMD, you know, gotta love it. But that's about it for today. So let me know how your trading day went. Hopefully your puts are not getting tested. But like I said, if you are in... But like I said, if you are worried about getting assigned shares, you can always try and roll out your position to next week and maybe even roll it out to a lower strike price to give yourself more cushion. So let me know how your trading day went. If you have any questions or comments, as always, leave them below. We're getting really close. We're knocking on the door of 900 subscribers, so we're getting close to that Discord server. So happy trading.